Greetings, Earthlings! Today I'm back with the second installment of the re-review series. Today we are looking at a microphone that I originally reviewed in February of 2016, over half a decade ago. That microphone being the Audio-Technica AT2020. If you are interested in this microphone, it will still cost you around $100, which is surprisingly unchanged over the last 5 years. Fingers crossed. Like always, I will throw some links down below. For this review, I have the microphone connected directly to the Focusrite 18i20 2nd Gen. My gain is set at around 1 o'clock. I will not do any kind of post-processing, but I may have to boost it a little bit in post, so check the doobly-doo to see what I diddly did. Now let's talk about what comes in the box, which I no longer have because I have been using this microphone for 5 years straight. First off, you get this padded zippered storage pouch. You'll of course get the microphone, a firm microphone mount, a 5/8 to 3/8 inch microphone stand adapter. This is not the exact one that came with it. You can't expect me to know which one that is. And surprise, surprise, some documentation which I no longer have either. I pulled it off the internet. It's amazing. It's amazing. Why did I turn into Jerry Seinfeld? It's amazing! You can download things on the internet! Hey, Jerry. Then as far as the build quality, I have zero complaints about this thing. As I've said, I have been using this for 5 years straight, and I have not treated it kindly, and it is still in one piece and seems to be functioning flawlessly. It has an all-metal body as well as a metal mesh grill which has no give to it. As you move around the microphone, there are no switches or dials. On the bottom, you will find the XLR port, and if you are interested, this microphone is made in China. Then as far as the specifications, this microphone has a cardioid polar pattern, a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, a sensitivity of around -37 dB, a self-noise of 20 dBA, a max SPL of 144 dB, an impedance of 100 ohms, and a phantom power requirement of 48 volts. Now I am spinning around the AT2020 to 90 degrees so you can hear the off-axis rejection and coloration. We'll continue around the microphone to 180 degrees. This is the rear of the mic. Continuing around to the second 90-degree angle, here we are, and then rotating and ending at the front of the microphone. Now let's test how well this microphone rejects plosives, but if you watched my original review, you know it is not very good. So, please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. Please bring pizza pronto. Now I am right on top of the microphone to accentuate that proximity effect, and here is how it is sounding. Now I am 3 inches off of the mic with it pointed at the corner of my mouth, and here is how it is sounding. Now I'm about 1 foot away from the microphone, and here is how it sounds. 2 feet away from the microphone, and about 4 feet away from the microphone. Boo! Now I am typing on a keyboard with Gatoron blue switches to see how much of my voice versus how much of the keyboard it picks up. And for you elite gaming folk, now I am typing on the sad W keys. Aww. Here is how the microphone sounds in a well-treated room. And now the exposure is completely off, but here is how the AT2020 sounds in a completely untreated room. Next, I want to see how well the provided mount rejects shocks, so I will go ahead and tap on my desk to see how much of that noise it rejects. And then I'll tap on the boom arm. And now, to be incredibly annoying and thorough, I am going to go ahead and tap on the microphone to see if there are any kind of resonant frequencies. Next, I want to do a very quick comparison between the AT2020 and a bunch of other microphones that are available, so we can see how this microphone stacks up against the competition, both old and new. Like always, we will start on the microphone that we are reviewing. This is the AT2020. I am 6 inches off of this. My gain is set at 1 o'clock. No post-processing, but check the lower third, and let's jump to the first mic. First up, we are on the Neewer NW700. This is a $20 to $30 XLR electret condenser microphone. I am 6 inches off. I had to decrease my gain to noon because this is an incredibly hot mic. Also, a very resonant mic. Yeah, it doesn't sound good, but $20. Let's jump back to the AT2020 and do some more comparisons. We are back on the AT2020 again. Nothing has changed. Same distance, same gain setting. Here is how it is sounding. Let's jump to microphone 2. Next, we are on the MXL990, which goes for around $75. I don't think this has been on my channel in 4 or 5 years, but here is how it is sounding. Gain at 12 o'clock and 6 inches off. Check the lower third, and let's jump back to the AT2020 so you can hear how that mic sounds before we do some more comparisons. Again, we are back on the AT2020 because I want you to be able to hear this microphone. Here is how it is sounding. Let's jump to another mic and compare it to that. Next, we are on the MXL770, which goes for a little bit more. This costs around $82. This has a high-pass filter and a pad, neither of which are engaged. Gain at 12 o'clock, still 6 inches off, and here is how it is sounding. Let's jump back to the AT2020 and do some more comparisons. What a shocker, we are back on the AT2020 for a 4th time so you can hear how this microphone sounds before we jump to another mic and let you hear how that sounds. Let's do that. Alright, now we are on the Neat Worker Bee, which costs around $90. This is a cardioid only condenser microphone. It has no filters, no pads, nothing on it. Very bare bones, very unique looking, but $90, so a little bit cheaper than the AT2020. And here is how it sounds. Same distance and gain at 12 o'clock. Check the lower third. Let's jump back to the 2020 and do even more comparisons. Well, all right. We are back on the AT2020 again. Here is how it is sounding. I am 6 inches off, gain at 1 o'clock. Let's jump to another mic and do that comparison. Next, we are on what I believe is Blue's answer to the AT2020, the Blue Ember. This is a cardioid-only condenser microphone, which is very narrow, very thin. This costs around $100. I am 6 inches off, gain still at noon. And here is how it is sounding. Get a feel for it, listen to the tone of my voice, and let's jump back to the 2020 because we have even more mics to compare it against. Again, we are on the AT2020 so you can hear how this sounds. As a reminder, this costs $100. XLR cardioid only condenser mic, no switches, no filters, nothing. And here is how it is sounding. Now we are jumping up in price quite a bit. This is the TechZone Audio Products Stellar X2. This is another cardioid-only condenser mic. This costs around $200. I am 6 inches off. My gain is at 12 o'clock. And here is how this is sounding compared to a microphone that is half its cost. I think I just popped the microphone. I apologize for that. Even though I should apologize for the review I did 5 years ago, because golly, people are still mad about that one, and rightfully so. Let's jump back to the AT2020 and do some more comparisons. Hey, we are back on the AT2020 again because we have a lot of mics we have to compare it against. I have acquired a lot since the last time I did it. Look at the videos, and the room is quite different because it is much more full. This is the AT2020. Let's jump to the next mic and do that comparison. Now we are on one of my all-time favorite mics. This is the Rode NT1. This costs around $270. I am 6 inches off. My gain is still set at 12 o'clock. And here is how it is sounding. $270, so almost 3 times more expensive than the AT2020. But pay attention to the top end of the microphone. I think that's really where you get the benefit. It is so much smoother and so much more pleasing sounding and much more balanced sounding to my ears. But there you go, Rode NT1. Let's go back and do some more comparisons. Couple more, I believe. Again, we are back on the AT2020 because I want to give you a full picture of how it sounds, because you can picture sounds and picture isn't a thing. Let's jump to the next mic. Now we are jumping up in price quite a bit. We are on the Shure KSM32, which costs $500. Another cardioid-only condenser microphone, does have a filter and a pad. 6 inches off, gain still at noon, at 12 o'clock, and here is how it is sounding. Let's jump back to the AT2020 and do another or one or two more comparisons. I don't even know. And again, we are back on the AT2020, so you can really understand how this sounds if you have not gotten enough of me talking. I am sure you have, because I have as well, but here is how this microphone sounds. Let's do another microphone comparison. Next, we are jumping up again in price quite a bit. We are on the Neumann TLM103. Hello, Neumann. I'm never going to stop making that joke. This microphone costs $1,100. I am 6 inches off, gain at 12 o'clock. Listen to the top end on this thing. It is more boosted, but it is smoother sounding. You are paying quite a big premium to get that softer top end, or at least more pleasing and natural sounding boost to your microphone. But is it 11 times better? You tell me in the comments down below. Let's jump back and do one more comparison. And by golly, I hope this is the last microphone that we are comparing. We are back on the AT2020. Here is how it is sounding. 6 inches off, gain at 1 o'clock. And we have one last mic to compare it against. Everybody already knows what it's going to be. Ready for it? 3, 2, 1. You thought we were going to go to it right there. We didn't. I wanted to keep you. And lastly, we are on the microphone that you all knew. This is the Neumann, the Neumann U87 Ai. The joke became reality there for a second. This microphone costs $3,600, so 36 times more expensive than the AT2020. I am 6 inches off on the cardioid polar pattern, and here is how it is sounding. Let me know in the comments down below which of these microphones was your favorite, and let's jump to the music test. It's a shame I didn't review this mic in 2020 to save a bit of money on the mics I had to buy. Now, it's less about saving money and more about missing the opportunity to shut off my air conditioner, but also to make a "is the 2020 still worth it in 2020" thumbnail. Now what I'm gonna have to wait another million years before I can do it again, right? That's how math works. Okay, looking back at this microphone 5 years later, it is clear that the competition has grown, and the competition is incredibly steep. And first up, in terms of pros, the microphone is relatively affordable at the $100 price point, and you are getting a pretty good build quality for that price. Additionally, I did find that the microphone's acoustics, the material used, was pretty acoustically dead, and that is great. But then as far as cons, the microphone was absolutely horrendous in terms of plosive rejection. The self-noise of 20 dBA is pretty high. Maybe at $100 that's acceptable, but still a bit higher than I would like. And also the polar pattern, if you're in an untreated room, tends to pick up a lot of sound all the way around the mic. And now as far as my overall thoughts and opinions of this microphone, on the electric guitar, I found the low end to be a little bit uncontrolled, so you will need to be careful with the microphone placement. And then the top end was quite sizzly to my ears, so on brighter sounding guitars, I was not a fan of it. Then on the acoustic guitar, I found it to be lacking quite a bit of body. It was a bit anemic sounding. Also, it offered an incredibly bright sound, and when I really dug into the strings, it got to be a bit piercing and unpleasant to listen to. Next up for singing, I definitely did not hate the microphone, and I think you can get some pretty usable sounds. I found the top end to be relatively unsmooth and a bit grainy, but that's nothing too out of the ordinary at the $100 price point. And if you do want a little bit more warmth or low end, you can get a little bit closer to the microphone to offset that boost in the top. And lastly, for spoken word, I do think that it offers a very clear sound. You can understand exactly what I am saying into it, but at the same time, I find it to be quite grainy sounding, or at least quite unsmooth. And also, I found it to have a little bit of sibilance issues, so on your S's, can be a little bit piercing. Again, I do find the mic to be a little bit lacking in the low end, leading to it sounding a bit top-heavy and lopsided. And if you want to fight that, you can get a little bit closer to the mic to engage that proximity effect to offset that boost in the top end a little bit more as well. And to wrap up, would I recommend the AT2020, or is the 2020 still worth it in 2021? I guess. It's just at the $100 price point, this thing has so much competition, you have so many different options to pick from. Personally, if I had to pick between the AT2020 and the other $100 microphones, I would probably be leaning towards the MXL style mics. I just thought they offered a bit more balanced and a little bit smoother sound, but it is going to come down to your personal preference because each of these mics does have its own character to it. That is just what I personally prefer. And if you already have the AT2020, you can make some very usable sounding recordings. And as I've learned over the last 5 years, this thing is built to last. You can beat the hell out of this thing and it's going to keep on working. And for a beginner microphone, I just think that's amazing that you can buy this thing for $100 and then use it for at least half a decade. That's a pretty good value proposition. All right, that is it for this episode of the re-review. Let me know in the comments down below which of the microphones you liked the best. If you want a higher quality version of this recording, of this review, go to podcastage.com. Let me know in the comments down below which microphone you would like me to re-review next. And if you see somebody commenting a microphone that you want to see re-reviewed, go ahead and give it a thumbs up to push it to the top so I can actually see which ones people want the most. If you found the video fun, interesting, or helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, big ol' thumbs down. Want more videos, subscribe, and insert standard, common, predictable, 80% of you aren't subscribed, so do it. I don't care. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. This is a resource channel. Do what you want. Anyway, I don't know what else I say in these outros. If you want to support the channel and become one of these amazing people over here, you can do so by clicking that join button or going to patreon.com/podcastage and joining at the $5 tier or higher. Really does help me continue to bring you these videos. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you later.